Grandma, say hi.
Hi. You know you can hear every word I answer.
Oh, can you? I didn't know that.
Your chair?
There's Wendy. Hey. Hey, Wendy.
Don't want things like this. I haven't learned how to make them yet. Well,
Say hi. Smile, Wendy. Wendy, smile.
no, you just buy them off.
Wendy.
$3. No, it's the large small thing. You take the thing off and open it up so it's like this long. Well, like this one at the top. That's how long it is before you trim.
Going to church. Yeah. Oh, he was yeah. I got one for Christmas.
It's a pain. You're going to do all the buttons and draw the face and then, and my kids want to know. They're not coming down. And I saw you. He's making it. He's building it.
Oh, look that way. We did it.
First quarter was out of the game. It was 32 to 7. 32 to 7. No, not my child. For the football.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
No, 32 to 7 first quarter. And he says he can't throw it. So and he's the only one who played all
I know, it was 23 years ago.
That's 32. So we were glad that he was not on it. Did you go? Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't want to go right now. This is at 4 o'clock right now. I'm not going to
Have a good time. Well, that's
Thank you for coming. I hope I didn't get anyone lost. Where everybody gave a piece of advice, but we don't want to do that.
Thank you.
Instead of giving advice, we just give a little sampling of what children are really like.
Oh, we need Jared.
So you all have your pennies, and here's the little hat to put them in. And what I just want you to do is introduce yourself and say how you know Mike and Wendy and George. Out of the room has done. And put your pennies in the hat. But if somebody else has done it, they can get your pennies. So the person at the end was like the worst child.
Oh,
the most unusual.
Or maybe it could have been the best. Could have been the best.
Because if you want to say brag, that's right.
We have to reach the
Can
you tell about somebody else's land?
today.
Like when I was 4 years old, my sister and I got into my mom's makeup, and when she said to go clean it off, we went and scrubbed our faces with Comet Cleanser. Has anyone else done that? No? And I'll put my pennies in that. And I'm Mary Ann Olson, and I know Wendy from church, and she taught my daughter in school and did a wonderful job, and we just think the world of her and mine. I can't think of anything. I'm not sure. I'm Mr. Nega. I can think of my name. Or you can do
Corinne was just 6 weeks.
Oh, good wish.
Yeah, Corinne was 6 weeks. 6 months old.
Oh,
you want me to move over?
Everything goes in this plan.
I can take a hand.
Or the English
I can't think of any.
Everyone's gonna go home and then we
Came running in, and I thought, oh my golly. And he was digging and digging and digging, and out pops his pacifier. He pops it in his mouth. He was digging for his pacifier. Anybody done that?
Digging.
I'm Andrea Snyder, and something that was kind of different. When my son Paul was 3 years old, I was having a presidency meeting in my home, and he couldn't get my attention because all the other kids were at school, so he thought, I'm going to go to Grandma's. So he puts his brother's pair of big sloppy shoes on, his brother's, or some football cleats, and took the dog and started out walking over to Grandma's. So Grandma was 3.5 miles away. Pretty soon we get a telephone call from the police. He had gotten down as far as the school, which was across a big, busy street, was walking through the school when they pulled him into the office. He wouldn't tell them his name or where he was from, but he told them Grandma's. And so they called my mother-in-law, and he was down there, and I was to come down there to pick him up. But he knew where he was going. So pay attention to your kids, and I'm going to say, well, later.
House, and we had gotten up to, we had lots of friends help us put the framework up, and it's a 2-story house, and so we had finished the floor joists of the 2nd story and had just that day finally laid the floor for the beginning of the 2nd story, and had a ladder up to it, and we had gone up and, we're standing around a few adults on this floor, with no walls or anything, saying, oh wow, it looks great, it's all done this far, and out of the corner of our eye we saw poked over the side our daughter Molly, who was 2, who had just climbed up the ladder that was propped up against the 2nd story, and she knew all the rest of us were up there, and so she just came up the ladder, and you can't imagine the feeling because you're up there really high, and there are no walls, there's no nothing, just this platform, and I said, oh, Molly, come join us. I'm sure the kids have all done lots of things, but I can't remember. The pennies?
That's good.
Her name is Adrian Carter, and I think the most unusual thing is that George did. He became my great-grandson. So I think that's unusual.
Well, my kids suddenly became good. All I can think of is when I was younger, we took our teacher's desk and took all the drawers out of it, turned it upside down, put the drawers back in, and then turned it right side up. So when she'd open her drawers, they didn't pull out.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell Nathan.
What?
I'm going to tell Nathan.
No, I'll do it till next time.
He's really good at school.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I was pretty good. I do some.
I'm sure you'll. And I have absolutely wonderful children. They're all perfect, and I have nothing to say.
So what about you?
We don't talk about me. The only thing I think is one of my sons walked up to this extremely huge conductor on a train. His name was Mr. Black, and he said right to his face, "I know why they call you Mr. Black." He was a big black man with this big black beard and just huge. My husband's sitting there going, and he said, "It's because you have a big black beard." And that was the only thing that he saw. So my children will come.
I can tell you a million things. I remember when I was 6 years old, we went and stayed in a motel, my whole family. And I had 2 older sisters that were, maybe I was 7 or 8. They were 5 years older than me and 8 years older than me. There was 6 good-looking guys staying in the motel room down below us. I mean, they were so good-looking. They're probably 18. This is back in the days when you weren't afraid of strangers. This is at Myrtle Beach, and my sisters were just dying to meet these guys. So I went down there, and I made friends with them. We stayed there 3 days, and I would go down there and watch cartoons in their motel room. We'd go swimming. They'd come get me in the evening. We'd go swimming. And how old were you? I was 8, I think.
Oh, really?
And we'd go walking on the beach, and my sister hated me And they even after that little vacation, they even wrote me a letter. Tell me what a cute little girl I was. That was a flirt even then.
Well, I'm not sure I understand how you get to put ten in there. Sharon climbed up on the roof, just like.
No, who are you?
He had a hammer in his hand.
She's your
When
husband.
we lived in Aurora.
This is her house,
He was less than 2.
Must be the age to climb ladders.
Anyway, but that's cute. My girls are perfect, so I'll have to talk about him. If some of you guys wanted to go upstairs, well, if you do, you will see on the landing there's color crayon all over the carpet. On one of the stairs. I didn't even try to clean up. We had extra carpet and I thought, we'll just replace it, but he did that.
Oh, and I'll go ahead and tell stuff. I don't care. My daughter gave me this beautiful little lamb for Christmas that she had won 2 years ago selling magazine for brownies, just darling little stuffed animals. And we were cleaning up after Christmas, my husband and I throwing all the papers in the fire, and my 2-year-old thought, oh, I'll join in, and he picked up the lamb and went over and chucked it in the fire. Oh, God. I felt really bad,
I remember once when Alan was about this size, maybe a little bit younger, and Lori, we went to the grocery store, and to ensure that they'd be really good, I told her beforehand I'd buy each a donut, and we'd put it in a paper bag, and if they could carry that, if they were really good, they could eat it. If they weren't, then I got it. Well, they weren't good. They went to the cereal department, and they wanted every kind of cereal they'd seen on TV, and it was just a zoo. So I just grabbed Alan just to give him a little shake, and I guess I was shaking him, and he says, Mom, stop, you're shaking all the sugar off my donut. So he wasn't a bit worried about sugar on his donut. And I think your family was the first family. When we had been here 1 week, Donna Hobson called up and said there was a fireside at your house, and I drove, and we went to your house, and that was the first place we ever went when we first moved here 10 years ago.
Long time. Yeah. So we lived here about 20 years ago for about 13 years.
20 years ago?
Yeah.
That's when we moved in.
Yeah. The story was Wendy, but Wendy is really.
How about Patty?
We have 11 children, so I could sort of match up with all of them. But the only thing I can think of when Wendy frightened me the most, we lived in Fremont, California, and she was probably only about 2. And she went into the bathroom, and it was coral-colored woodwork in there, and a razor in her hand. And she was covered with red. It was all over the counter. It was on the mirror and everything. I thought, she's bleeding to death. And then I realized she hadn't defiled it. And she was just sort of going like this. And I was so relieved to realize that it wasn't bleeding. But she had cut herself quite a few places, too.
I have a scar on my face.
Right. But she was just shaving everything and throwing the violets. But, of course, we don't even use that anymore. Doing a lot of redevelopment, reconstruction all along the coast. There was all these old buildings, and there was this big ravine, and they just had a piece of 2x4 across it. And Debbie ran out in the middle of that 2x4 and stood there. And there was no way I was going to go out and get her. And I knew if she fell off, she was, a goner. And we coaxed her, just like you did with Mom. Come on, because we weren't going after her. And we took her to emergency 5 weeks in a row, 2 months. That's the kind of kid.
They turn you in for
Child abuse, yeah.
nowadays. They would. And well, her dad lived with us for 4 months,
And she survived it.
we had a good time because I found out I knew a lot of his family up in the Bay Area. And I remember when Julie would come once in a while, so when Wendy came, I said, when you move here, we're going to go out and have a caramel, wasn't that what it was? Butterscotch? Caramel? Sundays, and we did. But I've also lost a little girl once, too, because I heard her playing with kids outside the window, and as long as I could hear the noise, and it wasn't in. So finally we asked the boy to go bring the children in, and there's no Kathleen. She was 14 months old, I believe. And let's see, I was trying to figure out. Oh, she was 18 months when Sterling was born. No, she was 2 years old, but she was a cute little girl. And so we started walking up the street, and we walked for a mile and a half, and pretty soon we saw this woman that was irate with this little girl, and she said, "How could you, a mother, be so careless with your beautiful little girl?" I was just awfully glad to get her back, but you know, if it happened nowadays, we'd just be paralyzed. Anyways, you don't listen to voices, you have to see if the baby's there.
My name is Debbie Conti, and I've been in the ward now for about 5 months, 6 months. I've been at Wendy primarily, and I've got 3 boys. I got a lot of, they're good boys, but boys are boys. Something happened to me not too long ago. We just moved into a new house that has really light carpeting, and I was having some friends from San Jose come for luncheon. So I was really busy that morning, and one of my friends said, the other one got my strawberry down. I said, okay, tell me to put it back. I'm going to serve him for part of the luncheon. So then I hear him in there arguing, and he says, Mom, you kind of smashed in the rug. And I run in there, and I just thought maybe a couple of them. The whole basket, barefoot, and was going like this, back and forth on my carpet. And it was really funny. I told my girlfriends at lunch, and they said, and he's still alive. The new carpeting that has the
It came out, huh?
It did. It came right through. Yeah.
Oh, you can go on TV.
Yeah, a testimonial.
It all came up. And just the day before, they child decided the fish needed some vitamins and triminic and milk and dumped it all in a bowl. Wendy, you just wait. Enjoy it. It's harder.
Denise is done for my kids. My cousin. I just remember one time my aunt telling us all that they went to the airport and she took her little boy along, and he just kept begging for some gum, and she wouldn't. No, not gum, or I don't want to get you right now. He kept asking, and then he went and got a drink at the drinking fountain, and he came back chewing.
Oh,
no! And then he found the My kids thought about it.
Did you get this shirt?
Every
year we do. It's my mom. Does she bring it?
Oh, you like his dad and play all kinds of sports.
She's right. Is your mom going to have a new
Well, Wendy, you have to talk while you're doing it.
Hi, Mom. He's asleep. His middle name is Carlton. Is that a family name? Actually, George is a family name, too. George is well, actually, that's my grandma, Granny Burgess, and he's named after her brother, George. But that's not really what happened.
Should I be recording this, Wendy?
Mike's brother, Dennis, the one who's 6'7", he's real tall, and he's a lot darker coloring than the rest of his family. They're a quarter Indian, so I mean, it's okay. They're darker, but they told him when he was about 10 years old that he was really not their brother, and that his real name was George, and they found him under a cow paw. And his kids told him. No, his mother was in on it too. I was just shocked. I didn't realize it until 8 months ago. But she said, oh, he just agreed with him too. And he kept waiting for his real parents to come get him. And to this day, he still calls
Good beans.
Probably on Monday. Mike's cousin was Dad's cousin Beverly that was at the front door. It's from you. It's from 7 feet. Mike's friend. Christmas paper and want to help do this?
Over the cotton.
Oh, really?
I only did
Me and the other one.
I say both. Who's from you?
All right. Actually, it's not from here. It's on Aspiration.
Yeah, I got it. Now that was nice.
Oh, that's darling. Oh, that's darling. That is so cute.
They gotta find a little top
Oh, you have to put that on him right now.
Where did you find stuff like that? I kind of walked in and fell in love and bought it.
That's darling.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm licking all your clothes over.
Anything big enough they can borrow.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we'll return the spit up.
Oh, these are nice. With the cold weather?
Oh, that's right for the camera. It's okay. No, I'm zooming in on them, so I'm fine.
Yes.
Oh, those are great.
Well, she only had 10. One's a doctor.
Tell her what you said to your mother when you talked to her.
The first thing I said, I just said, I can't believe you had 10 children.
I didn't say I recognized it.
Happy birthday, I just feel like I'm the white people in the world. They all came this way.
I mean, I can't believe it.
Well, how many hours of
How many hours?
8. She was with Michael for 8 hours. I was the longest. I want to see this again.
But they used to try to keep it in mind until they started to take pictures, right? But when they used to talk to you during delivery and like that.
I asked her if I could write you.
paper, I put them in and drink. My kid will wake up, I'll have to go
That's for me and Joyce.
I know. If I
Oh, you Wendy, they have the elastic. With the elastic around the bottom, those are the best.
I mean, I'm looking at you. I'm thinking, I don't even know. I didn't know yours was part of this.
Well, you can have to be athletic just to clear my head.
Falling asleep. Probably sitting down.
Turn it off for a while.
Oh, wait a minute.
I had literally delivered it out.
Look at those tails.
Now you can really celebrate New Year's, right?
Is she a December baby?
Wendy, you and Michael have that.
Did you get the phone?
I love it.